Self-trust really is the process of knowing that everything is going to be okay.
There's a bit of vulnerability required to really go deep into self-trust. Is that right?
Absolutely.
That's where intimacy can live and thrive.
There is no intimacy without vulnerability.
Welcome to Love Magic Miracles. I'm Alina GG, and if you're a soul-led entrepreneur who wants to make a big impact in the world, you're in the right place. And if you'd love to weave feminine embodiment into your everyday and quantum leap every area of your business and love life to new heights, then plug into these conversations with these inspiring thought leaders and hit subscribe, comment, and share with someone you care about today.
Hello, it's Alina GG from Love Magic Miracles, and I have Jem from Soul.and.Soma. She is a holistic counsellor, an energy worker, and a somatic therapist. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Alina. It's so nice to be here.
We're going to talk about self-trust today.
I'm so excited. We had a little call before and we started flowing and we thought we better hit record now.
Exactly. We were scheduled for next week and we were both like, no, we're in the vibe. We're both downloading. I can feel tingling on my crown chakra. Self-trust. Now, you said something interesting before. You said it's a muscle that we build and we can't expect to just turn it on and flick the switch. Please say more.
Say more. I think it's not something that we can just decide. We can decide to follow that path and start to develop that self-trust, but it's not something that we can just flick a switch on and have instantly. It is a muscle that we need to be building, and self-trust comes from the reps. It comes from the practices. It comes from connecting to ourselves and connecting to our bodies and listening, and then following through with what our body is teaching us. So that comes through setting boundaries or taking risks or stepping outside of your comfort zone. And self-trust really is the process of knowing that everything is going to be okay, regardless of if you fail or not.
Wow. So it feels like there's a bit of vulnerability required to really go deep into self-trust. Is that right?
Absolutely. A lot of the work that I do with my clients is all about having the willingness to speak their truth and to have honesty. And that comes through vulnerability. It comes from really sharing exactly what's coming up for you without any filters, without any masks, and tapping into the part of you that's really self-compassionate, knowing that even though I'm having this experience, I am still worthy, I am still lovable, even if there's parts of me that are feeling shame or guilt or whatever it is. When we're speaking into our truth, we just can't be like, we can't deny anything, and it really does set us free. So I love vulnerability.
That's right. That's where intimacy can live and thrive.
Absolutely. There is no intimacy without vulnerability. I have been in relationships before where I will have the ability to bare my soul and bare my truth and bare my heart, and maybe the other person isn't able to. And then I'm not able to feel safe. So it's not a real intimacy because it's only a one-way street. And so when we can both be truly vulnerable and truly expressive about what it is that we're feeling and going through and speak our micro truths or our big truths, that's where we can connect so deeply.
I love that. Yeah, I'm here for that. I would like that more in my friendships as well as my relationship. I feel like it's that space is there in my conscious relationship, which is great. And I would also like to feel that trust in my friendships as well. I feel like if you've ever been hurt in a friendship or someone's left or someone's projected stuff onto you or their own stuff has come up so strong or you've moved away or all sorts of things, right? Because not every friend is meant to be in your life forever, reason, season, lifetime. But then what if you haven't really felt safe in friendships before? How do you become safe to really find your tribe and have those lovely friendships?
I love that question. It starts with yourself. So it really starts with being able to feel safe in yourself. Because if you can't feel safe in yourself to express yourself and your truth honestly, how can you expect other people to meet you in the same way? And so when you're building up your sense of self and knowing yourself and being able to understand, I feel this way because of this, or this triggered me because of that, and really be soft and gentle and loving with yourself, then you're going to be I suppose, meeting a frequency, a magnetic frequency to absorb more of that into your life and bring the tribe people. You're going to feel safer to go and do things that you wouldn't have normally done by yourself. This is what I'm on a path of at the moment, is going to events and going to places that are really edgy for me to go by myself. And literally there's something here in Adelaide called Dancing Room, which is we just like dance on the beach. They have a DJ every Tuesday night. And normally in the past, I would be like, who's coming? I need a friend to go with. But now I'm just like, do you know what? I'm just going to go and I'm going to be there and enjoy the experience. And it's not about how I look, it's about how I feel, and let the music move me. And then just this Tuesday night, I connected with someone. I was like, you're such a good dancer. And she was like, I'm looking for female friends. Will you be my friend? And I was just like, wow, it's that easy. But you have to have a sense of self-trust in knowing that I'm going to be able to go there and be okay being alone. It's really, I think self-trust really comes from building your ability to hold discomfort.
Wow.
Because it's like that uncomfortable, edgy feeling of, oh my gosh, what if someone's looking at me? I've got no one here to bounce off of. Or am I a loser? Or is someone going to judge me? All of those little feelings and thoughts, I have the capacity to hold them and really nurture and love all of the little parts of me that are afraid, and then go, all right, well, we're going to be brave. We're going to be courageous. It really is like feeling that fear and doing it anyway, knowing that the outcome is going to be more beneficial than anything else.
That's cool. I like that. That's good. Well, I'll keep going with that vibe then of trying things and getting out there, because even I shared with you, I just went to the gym this morning and that's something I was resisting, and I thought I'll just try it, the one around the corner from my new place, and I'll just go and I'll just do a class and see what it's like. And yeah, the trainer was lovely and all the people there were really relaxed and authentic, and I felt like I could just be me and plug in and do it. So it's often we build things up in our mind like that they're going to be so much more scary or judgy or icky than what they are when we actually do it.
Absolutely. Fear of the thing is way worse than the actual thing, the actual experience. And it is, like you said, you've been avoiding this thing. You've been avoiding or pushing away the idea of going to the gym. And it's the moment that we step into that path of whatever it is that we're avoiding that we expand. Our choices expand, our opportunities expand. We start to click into spaces and make new connections and meet new people. And places like gyms and yoga studios and community dance events or whatever, those are the things, the places that we go because we love to do those things, right? And so, of course, we're going to meet more like-minded people that love to do those things too. And they are incredible for community building. I just think if you're doing something that you love, your heart coherence, that is such a huge thing. It's a magnetic frequency that you're going to be emitting. So when you're in that beautiful, grounded sense of self, you've just done a pump at the gym, feeling really good. You are magnetic, truly magnetic.
That's great. It's true. It's all frequency, right? And we're not meant to be alone or separate all the time. We're meant to connect and be on this and share our journey with others. I think that's really important to remember, especially if you're someone, like we were saying before, if you work from home or you are in an isolated community and you're not in a place where you can get to events and things. It's important to connect online or find ways to stay connected with other humans.
Absolutely. Have you heard of the third space theory?
No.
So we have two spaces in our life normally. If you don't work from home, a lot of people have work as one of their spaces. And then their second space is home. And then sometimes we just get stuck in this, just going from work to home. And what we need is a third space. And in someone like you or me who work from home, we actually need a second and a third space of a place to build community, a place that's outside of home that we can carve the space to flourish in our hobbies or our creativity or our sense of wellness and well-being. God, I hate the word wellness at the moment. It's such a buzzword, but like these are the spaces that we do feel really well. So whether it be like your local pottery studio or cycling club or run club or whatever, that third space is so powerful and so potent and so important.
Beautiful. That's a nice, clear example and achievable, and it doesn't have to be 24/7. You can go once a week, once a month, whatever fits into people's lives. Good.
Definitely. I
I
think in the
like that.
social media age, we think that we're being connected to people when
Mm.
we're online, when we're scrolling, when we're in the DMs, whatever it is. But there is some kind of barrier to actual depth of connection, especially if you're just watching somebody's life. You're not
Yeah.
really connecting. And so,
Mm.
I heard this other thing too recently. You might actually already be aware of this, but the catch up loop.
No.
I think Tanya Hennessy wrote a blog around this just recently, but she was like, I was stuck in this catch up loop of seeing my friends for coffees and a walk and catching up on our lives.
Mm.
And instead of making new memories with them. So it's like the
Ooh.
friends that I used to hang out with and do things with and actually create memories with. Now we're just catching up, filling each other in with what's going on in our lives, and then going our
Wow.
separate ways and just doing this cycle over and over again.
Huh.
And there is a missing link of connection there because we're not actually creating new memories and doing new things
Mm.
together. So it's like calling in the friends that you can actually go and do something with, create a memory, go to a gig or do a yoga class or, I don't know, go camping with or go on a hike with. How are you
Mm.
adventuring and creating memories with these people that
Wow.
you love to hang out with? Because otherwise you're going to catch up, right? And you're going to be like, do you remember that one time 10 years ago when we did this
Mhm.
thing? And you've just been
Yeah.
catching up consistently since then. So I
Mm.
love that for developing deep friendships. And
Definitely. Creating memories.
yeah,
Beautiful. That's great. That sounds fun.
totally fun. If you were to create a memory with someone, what's something that you would go on a friend date and do?
I love all the things you mentioned. Well, actually, I just went on a girls' weekend with a friend at the last minute. She had a cancellation to this amazing house and just invited me along. And so that was cool because that was in Bangalore near Byron. And
Beautiful.
we got to chat in the car and then go for dinner. And then she had a dance workshop during the day. So I got to have a bath in the outdoor bathtub and just meditate and drink herbal tea and eat fruit and have like a mini day retreat. And I took myself for a walk. So it
Dream.
was like this time for myself that I needed as well.
Yes.
And so that was cool. And I guess I like to go camping and with friends would be fun. Something like
Mm,
that would be cool because I love being in nature as well. But also maybe go out for dinner or go to the movies or something like that would be nice. Friend
yes.
date, just, be nice.
Absolutely. Oof, I love that so much. Because those are
Yeah.
the spaces like go camping and you completely unplug and you're in nature
Mm.
and you can have like deepest conversations
Mm.
and the funniest conversations and fall off your chair
Yeah.
laughing. And those are the memories that keep you sustained and keep you going and fill your cup and fill your
Yeah.
heart with love.
Have a fire and that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm manifesting that for both of us. I want that
nice.
too.
Yes, please. That sounds great. Awesome. And
Mm,
even it's funny because once I moved to this new place, I'd love to have my friends who are my girlfriends are from different areas of my life. They don't all know each other, but I'm like, wouldn't it be nice to bring them all together and cook a nice meal and just do that? That's sort of something I was thinking as well.
I
Because I
love
used to do
that.
that all the time. I used to love entertaining. When I was married, I would love, well, entertaining and having nice meals and then even picnics I love as well with friends. We used to have picnics when the kids were younger and things like that. That's always
Mm,
nice. Sitting on the
mm.
earth, just eating
Yeah.
yummy food, looking at the ocean.
Yeah,
Just
that
the
sounds
simple
divine.
things, right? Just,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
all these little puzzle pieces are landing into place for me, just you saying all those things. We need to pull more of that
No.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's awesome.
that's right. Because
Yeah.
like catch
We
up
do a
loop.
little potluck situation with a
Yeah.
couple of my groups of friends. So it's like really easeful because it's not like the pressure's on one person to cook and create everything.
Oh, that's
Everybody
good.
brings something
Yeah.
and somehow it's always so cohesive and beautiful.
Mhm.
But I love the picnics and all of that, being surrounded by
Yeah.
nature is so gorge. What were you gonna say? I'm
Mm.
sorry I cut you off.
Oh, well, I was just thinking catch up loop, that can just
Mm.
happen it can sneak into different areas of your
Yeah.
life as well, other than your friendships. That can happen in your relationship, that can happen with family, that can happen with day-to-day living and kids. I'm actually thinking because with my kids and that, it's like the day-to-day, and I'm like, "Oh, it'd be nice to do something special with them too. What could I do?" And so it's just like maybe just reflecting a little bit and then putting something on the calendar and just looking at
Yeah.
things a bit differently as well.
Definitely. It's, how can I open up to a little bit of being creative about this? And
Yeah.
so right, it happens in all relationships in our lives. And we have to make a little bit of effort to take our relationships a little bit deeper and take our conversations a little bit deeper and ask questions and be curious.
Definitely. I love that. I just think that there's so much inspiration under the surface of people, and you could know someone for years and still not know some stories about them or some experiences they've had that have changed them. And everyone's
Yep.
got more depth than what comes out in a day-to-day conversation.
I totally resonate with that when it comes to a relationship. You're through the first couple of years of a relationship and you think you've heard all their stories. And then when you hear a new story or they bring out a new trick, that's so sexy. That's really hot. And so it's like, what are the open questions that we can ask the people that we love to go a little bit deeper and find out all of those little nuanced stories about them? And they're constantly changing too, which we forget. You're like, oh, this is the person that I fell in love with 2 years ago, but they have evolved just like you have evolved. And there are things that they're learning every single day. And I think that when we're in a relationship, me personally, I know that I sometimes forget that. We get to
Yeah,
constantly get to be learning about each other.
that's true. That keeps it fresh. I did this actually, I'll share something that was really interesting that my partner and I did the other night, because it's in 2 days, it'll be like 3rd year anniversary of being together. And we did this thing where we were like, let's go on a date and pretend it's our first date.
Love that.
And he's still kind of doing that. And then it's really funny and it's great. I love the vibe because it's like some princess treatment and just looking at each other. How would we like to be spoken to or interacted with? Imagine this is a new person. What type of respect would you be showing them and not taking them for granted? And
Yeah.
it's very interesting to experiment that we're doing it. Yes, I'm
Mm.
sort of calling it a relationship reset. And I'm thinking of developing it into a bonus for one of my coaching programs. And
I love that so much. And
yeah,
it can become a bit that you guys do, quite a fun little bit, and it can
it
be
is.
flirty and it can be sexy. Because I think like
Yeah.
that freshness of that first date, and sometimes the flirtiness can go away when you've been in a relationship
Mm,
for a while. So like bringing that back, because
mm,
that's spicy. That's what we love at the start of a relationship.
exactly.
And it can dwindle over the years. So to whatever little practices that you can do, I love that
Mhm.
concept. It's a great idea.
Mhm.
What was the princess treatment that you're getting now that you hadn't been getting for the last couple of years?
Well, I feel like there's been moments of it throughout, and I just felt like it came back really strong. And I don't know if it's because of the way I've been living my life and my relationship with myself and meditation, and just like you said before, you were alluding to tune into to your truth and just honoring myself. I feel like I'm always raising my standards,
Mm.
and that's what I do. But that's a big talk to walk, right? And
Yeah,
so I can't
totally.
expect
Especially if
other
you're
people
already in relationship.
I can't expect other people to lift their game if I'm not doing that for myself and for them as well. So I just heard this thing, some of these ladies who speak about this stuff, right? Embodying of the feminine, I am the prize, and then being in that energy and bringing my focus back within and being with myself, not always going out externally for validation or seeking to, I am satisfied. I don't need to look to someone else to fulfill me. But ironically, when I just relax back into myself, then I have everything I want. Everything I've been desiring is right there. It's like the ego plays a trick with scarcity, thinking that we don't have enough. Have you ever thought, oh no, I don't have that thing and I've got to go to the shops and I've got to go buy it? And then it's like, or you find it in the cupboard or the fridge or whatever it was that you needed for that recipe. As an example, I've done this before so many times. Like, oh no, I don't have that thing. I was like, oh, I've got this thing. And that's just a physical example, but that can be emotionally, energetically. If you keep saying to yourself, oh, my needs aren't being met, or I'm not receiving this, or he's doing this, and it's reaffirming, and it's like then you're transfiguring onto that other person. You're disappointing me, and it's like, wow, what chance do they have to actually show you something different? because you're projecting that onto them and not even, you said people change and grow all the time. And because it's funny, conditioning of society, a leopard doesn't change their spots, things like that. Oh, can people change and grow? Or who you meet, are they always going to repeat those patterns? And then you get to a point where, you know what? That it crosses my boundary, that feels disrespectful for me, I'm going to move on? Or do people change and grow and go, oh, well, we can look at this differently now because there's different ways our perspective can change. And then, like you said, you got to honor your truth and your boundaries and what's right for you. But also, I think that there's flexibility and there's give and take within ourselves and our relationships, because otherwise, if you're too rigid, number one, as a woman, it just puts you in your masculine. That feels gross for me personally. When I'm just stuck in that masculine energy, it's not receptive, it's not flowing, it's not the natural polarity if you're in that relationship of male and female energies. So there's a lot to it.
So much to it. It's very nuanced, and it comes to that speaking into or plugging back into yourself. And when you can check in with yourself and realize that you've got everything that you need inside of you, then everything that you need is outside of you as well. But if you're looking inside or not looking inside, most of the time we're in here and we're like, this is lacking, this is shit, they're not doing this for me, I deserve better, they broke a boundary, but not actually checking in with the self and going, where am I not doing this for myself? And where am I disconnected? If we're disconnected from ourselves, there is no way we're going to be able to connect to other people because we're just not actually physically here within. And if we're just in the mind and we're over analyzing and we're overthinking and we're judging instead of feeling and just realizing that it's all within, we are, oh gosh, we're going to feel so disconnected from others as well as ourselves.
Sorry, what was that last bit again?
Oh, feeling so disconnected from ourselves, and then we're feeling disconnected from others.
It's true. That's 100% how it works. So if you're feeling a bit disconnected and you just want to feel in your body and just be present with yourself, but honestly, now after going to the gym, my back's feeling a bit tight. So what would I do to just go, oh?
Well, should we do a little practice?
Let's do it.
Feel comfy on your chair, and just, I would recommend always having a straight spine anytime you're going to sort of bring any awareness into the body. And with everything, I love to start off with just a little connection to breath. So just starting to notice how it feels to be receiving your breath into your body right now. And you might be noticing a little tightness or a little pain, or you might notice that you soften in as you're tracing your breath in and out of your body. And everything that's here is okay. We're not here to judge. You're just here to notice, to witness. And it's our natural instinct to get out of the body if we're feeling pain. But unfortunately, the best thing that we can do is actually sit and be with that sensation just for a little bit. And this will increase our capacity. So what can you notice inside of your body right now as you're breathing?
Should I answer that? Is that rhetorical?
No, I would love to know what you can notice when you're breathing.
It feels nice to connect within, but then on my left side of my back just feels a little bit tight, which I've had recently, and went to the physio and it was like really jammed up. So I'm just like, don't want it to go back into spasm.
Of course. Is there any way you can just breathe into that tightness right now? Is it tolerable for you to be there and notice the pain? Even welcome the pain in as a signal, as a communicator.
It's nice to send the breath there.
I think we spend a lot of time avoiding the spaces within that feel painful, emotionally and otherwise. So stay there just for a little bit longer and keep sending your breath there. And even with intention, sending your love there. And for anyone listening right now or watching that is experiencing pain and it's too hard for them to go right into the center of it, I would recommend just meeting the edges, noticing how it feels to breathe into the edges of that space. You know, the pain is a communicator. The pain is letting you know that maybe you went too hard or something went the wrong way or whatever it might be. And it's your body just communicating to you that I need some space to rest. I need some softening. I need some tenderness. And you can actually ask your pain point that question as you're breathing into it. What do you need? And you might be able to feel a response or hear a response. Normally it's the first thing that pops to mind. Try not to overthink it.
When you say tenderness, that just brings up for me as a mother dropping my kids to school this morning, and I felt like they were being a little bit disrespectful. And then I said, well, no, have no iPads tonight. And then Jamie said, oh, you're causing drama. I said, setting a consequence for you is not causing drama. She was like, trying to turn it back on me. And then I felt like being a single mum with them half the time, great, because half the time I get to have my own life and my business and do what I want. But then the other half the time, it's challenging because I feel like I'm holding space for them, and it's like kind of two against one sometimes. And it's like had the thought this morning, who's holding space for me during these moments? And it just made me feel like I would like that. And then it's funny because now we're here and you're totally doing that for me. So thank you.
It's my pleasure, my darling. And the thing is I'm just guiding you. You're actually the one who's dropping in and holding the space for yourself. That is a really beautiful realization of a need that you have. A need to
Yeah.
soften in, a need to have some space just to be with your body and to be with the parts of you that even were activated during that ride in the car.
It was really activating because when I like them to be happy when I drop them off, and then they were both kind of angry at me. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I just was so loving and kind to them yesterday afternoon and made them yummy food and feel like it's just not appreciated. But that's like standard mother-child
Dynamic. Absolutely. Did you say 9 and 13? So I think about when you were a 13-year-old and your relationship with your mum, if you had one. But like, oh, wow. It's a really beautiful illuminator of your teenager will show you where your inner teen was angry and didn't have her needs met or didn't feel seen or heard or validated. And that helps you have a sense of understanding and empathy for your teenage child. But at the same time, you can still be boundaried and you can still show them that actions have consequences. And it's so, so normal to want to be loved by them all the time, right? But at the same time, you have to be a parent and you have to help them understand that their actions do have consequences and that boundaries need to be respected. And so sometimes you're going to be the bad guy. And that comes down to being okay with not being liked all the time, which the people pleaser in us finds really difficult, right?
And I don't even know if it's the people pleaser, because I do think about that with my clients sometimes when they're overcoming people pleasing, because I feel like I've overcome a lot of that in my life. I don't say yes to things I don't want to do anymore. But of course, I just want to feel that energy of love, my children, all the time. And when they're little, you can just bring them into your arms and hold them and feel that. But then I was trying to give my 9-year-old a hug goodbye, and she was resisting me and didn't want to hug me. And it's like,
it hurts. It gets you in the heart, doesn't it?
So there's probably other mums listening to this, and it's probably that's why I'm sharing, because then they'll feel like, oh, wow, it's not just me.
So resonant. Yeah,
So that
absolutely. Oh, little moment of tenderness for the version of you that was feeling that this morning.
Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, it wasn't a question. Sorry.
Oh.
It was just giving yourself a little beat and a pause and a moment of tenderness for you for this morning. He was feeling that need to have some space held. And
so what are other ways people can build self-trust? And
there's a real sense of being willing to fail or being willing to be bad at something that I think that a lot of us are perfectionists or recovering perfectionists, and we want to be good at everything all the time. And if we're not going to be good at something, we won't even bother or we won't even try. And it just like I said about the self-trust, it's a muscle that we need to build. And we have this incredible capacity with our brains, with neuroplasticity, to rewire and to create new neural pathways. But we have to be willing to try. We have to be willing to experience the discomfort of failure, the discomfort of potential judgment, the discomfort of rejection. So self-trust, I think it comes through a real practice of holding difficult and sticky emotions as they come up in the body. And it's not something that we were ever trained how to do growing up. And especially I feel like in our generation, in society is built to be very mind-centric. Mind is king. If we can take it back to our roots, the body holds so much wisdom. The body is where all of our emotional sensations actually live. And then we're just in the mind interpreting and analyzing and whatever. So when you're thinking about doing something that might make you feel uncomfortable, you can actually take a pause and a beat and think about that and then feel into that discomfort and allow yourself to hold it.
Mm.
But it is a skill and it is a muscle that takes reps, and it is, I don't know about you, but for me it sounds simple, but it's not easy.
Mm.
So it's something that we just have to practice. I used to think, why the fuck would I want to get out of my comfort zone? I'm really good here. I'm good being ignorant. I'm good being numb. And I'm good just living weekend to weekend, trying to forget about my pains and my problems every weekend with drinking and drugs. And then I realized how freaking bored I was with my life, how bored I was with my relationships, how bored I just was, so deeply unfulfilled and unsatisfied, because where we numb life, we're just numbing our capacity and our ability to experience this fucking incredibly vibrant, amazing, beautiful life that we have been gifted. That was a very long-winded answer.
No, that
How
was
does that
great.
resonate?
That's so good, because I was actually about to ask you about that, because when we were talking on the phone before, you were like, when I haven't trusted myself, it's bit you, it's come back, it's been a bad, there's been, tell me more. Like, do you have any stories to share about that?
I think most of my lack of self-trust in my life has resulted in relationships that have not been safe, fulfilling, or have actually been under the domestic violence kind of situation. And I think relationships, careers, things like that, where I've stayed longer than I should have or I could have, I think my lack of self-trust or my fear of what could happen if I didn't take the risk or take the leap or take the plunge or walk out the door was greater than my capacity to, I was just like, I can stay in this because this is what I know. This is what I'm comfortable with. And at least better the devil kind of thing. At least I am used to this, even though it was, if I take my abusive relationships, for example, my nervous system became so incredibly dysregulated. And it's taken me years to rebuild a sense of safety in my body and groundedness in my body and a sense of self-trust. But it actually led me here. So I'm like, I would never take any of it back. It fucking sucked. But I'm here now, and I think that I probably wouldn't have got to this point if I hadn't have gone that direction. So for me, the lack of self-trust really has shown up in dysfunctional relationships mostly. And I'm just growing, and the more that I do the inner work, the more that I connect into my sense of safety within myself, my resource, we call it in body processing, the more that I go, okay, well, like you said before, I am the prize, and this doesn't tick all of my boxes, or this doesn't feel safe to me. And so this relationship is not going to be the one. And so it's much easier to move on. But relationships is where I think most of us experience the most turmoil and pain, and also the most beautiful joy and connection and depth and growth. So like I said, I never take any of them back, but I definitely look back at the past version of me who just deeply was unable to trust herself and found herself in these really tricky situations. And I just have so much love for her now. It's taken me a while to get to that point, because I think after you leave a dysfunctional relationship, there's a lot of shame and guilt and real judgment that you put on yourself. Also victimhood that we stay in for a while. And to give you a little bit of my background, I grew up with two parents who were children of alcoholics. So their parents were alcoholics, or their fathers were both alcoholics. And so the self-worth wounding it runs deep and was inherited. So a mother and a father who both don't know how to be with themselves, to trust themselves, to allow themselves to be free in the world, in their expression, meant that I, growing up, didn't know how to be with my emotions. I was afraid of emotions because I was afraid of my father's emotions. And so I've had to do a lot of deprogramming and a lot of unlearning and peeling back all of the layers to see what the truth is inside.
Wow. That interesting. We're given those experiences and those families and those relationships to fine tune and polish the diamond that we are, and it all makes sense. And so so I relate to a lot of what you just said, by the way. And then with nervous system, right? So it's funny because especially if you've survived an abusive relationship, your nervous system can just be triggered by a seemingly small thing sometimes, and boom, flight or fright, here we are again. And I sometimes just want to leave and run away. Sometimes that's my response to feeling like that in my body. And so, what's a way that you like to reset your nervous system?
Well, there's a few things. So, always coming at it from a grounded state. So, obviously, we can't be grounded all the time, but I personally have worked over the last couple of years cultivating what I mentioned before is called a resource. So, a sense of safety that's within my body. So, for me, I have a connection to my womb space or my sacral area. And for me, when I breathe into that space and I drop in and send my attention down there, it's like warm molasses. It is gooey and it is sweet and it is slow and it is soft and it is really nurturing. And when I can drop into that space, that feels like home base to me. I'm in the middle of the universe right now. I'm in the depths of being wrapped up in love when I move into that space. And everybody has a different space within their body that could be their resource. And some people may not be able to drop into the body immediately. They may be able to drop in with a memory or with a safe person, or an icon that makes them feel really safe and grounded and held. And so a lot of the work that I do with my clients is in building and cultivating, first of all, this sense of safety. So when we've got a sense of safety, then we can move into saying or feeling the fight or flight response comes up, that flight response and that need to run away. You can go, all right, I've got a resource here and I'm feeling really activated. That need to run away for you probably feels a little bit like all of the blood is rushing from your torso into your arms and legs. And you can't really think.
Sometimes it's not necessarily that intense, but I'm just observing because as I'm doing my meditation practice morning and night, and I'm on my journey and life is great, you notice the moments when you're out of balance more because you're like, oh, this isn't my natural state. And it's just really nice to have tools up your sleeve, no matter where you are or what you're doing. Because like you said, if we've survived an abusive relationship, which I also have in my 20s. It does take a while to repair and heal and reprogram your mind and your body, and it can be a bit confusing sometimes because what has become normal, is it normal? It's almost like you got to relearn a lot of things.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was probably my next step, is to actually be with the part of you that wants to run away. So that part of you probably doesn't just live up here, but it probably lives someplace in your body. So you might notice whatever you notice when you feel that flight response activated. It might be a heart racing and it might be sending you these messages of run away. And so if you can breathe into that and just let it know that you're here, that I'm listening, you belong here. And you can start to notice maybe the shape or the texture of that emotion or that part of you and where it lives in your body, and just breathe into it and just let it exist. And then sometimes with a fight or flight response, it's coming from a part of us that is living in the past, that's living in what we call trauma time. And those of us who've experienced domestic violence situations, we often didn't actually get to play out that nervous system response at the time. So it's still living in the body. So part of you that wants to run away, actually you can give it the opportunity to run away and play that out. You can play that out in your body by stomping your feet on the floor and pumping your arms like you're running away, like Tom Cruise style, like shifting that momentum and that energy through your body. And keeping in mind that we're not doing this to get rid of it, because I think if we tell the emotion or tell the feeling that we want to get rid of it, then it feels rejected and it becomes shadowed. But if we can say, you belong here, and like, you for showing me a part about myself right now, and then let the response play out, it can be incredibly soothing and incredibly healing. That which we bring our attention to and that which we bring our light to, it stops being unconscious and it stops running our lives in the background. When we bring it to consciousness and we let it know that it is allowed to exist within us, that it is a natural response. And the nervous system's fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, those are our natural evolutionary responses to danger. And being really, really kind and loving to that part of ourselves that's feeling in danger and feeling unsafe right now, and validating that. All we need is validation.
Interesting, because I was looking at the way the brain works in relation to the flight or fright response. And if I feel like, well, what we're in a society that we're actually already in quite a heightened state,
Yeah.
Frequencies, social media, work pressures, all the things, right? Our day-to-day lives are actually quite stressful in a way. So then we're not in danger, but then our brain confuses that for thinking that we are, because when we were primal beings, that feeling of being stressed would mean you actually have to run away from a tiger. So it kind of makes sense, like, we're confused in our system. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like the human body has been evolving for 60,000 years, right? But then in the last 200 years, 300 years, we've seen such a dramatic shift in the way that we live our lives. Of community, we've had the industrial era where, there's like 9 to 5, the 24-hour system. It's just so far from what we have experienced for the last 1,000 years. And so, like, still trying to catch up. Yeah.
What it feels like. I'm sure there must be so many people out there feeling like that, and like rushing. And I don't want to rush in my life, and I'm not. I limit that as much as I can, but we'll need to calm down and come back to center, because that's what's going to bring peace to the world. If we individually come back to center, to our hearts and our place, we don't need much else.
We really don't. And it just reminds us what actually matters.
Yeah.
Very similar. I used to rush around everywhere, and my body was just covered in bruises because I would just like be bumping around like a pinball, not thinking. And I started to do this like connection stuff. I was like, oh wow, like no need to rush ever. Like really no need to rush. But it's like this made up like that and pressures that we put on ourselves, like none of it is even real. Like the whole, like, I'm gonna go really deep. Like society is not even real. Time is made up, a man-made construct. It's like, all we have is like this moment, this breath.
Yeah.
That's all we know. Tool that I thought could be useful for people is to drop into their bodies whenever they see an angel number. So for me, like quite often we'll look at like clock and see 222, 333, 444, or number plates that are repeating. And anytime I see repeating triple digits of a number, this is when I pause and just take a beat and take a breath. And I just sort of send my attention and my awareness down into my body, and I just notice what's there. Like my heart is racing a little bit. Cool. Notice it. No judgment. But I'm feeling really grounded into this soft seat right now, and that's really beautiful. That's also just notice, no judgment. And sometimes it'll just be 3 breaths, but the like constant daily reminder of seeing those numbers everywhere, like you start looking for them, you see them everywhere, and they are just such a beautiful little like the moment for you. Just take a breath and notice how you're feeling. Is the perfect drop-in opportunity. Yeah.
Great. I do that, but now I'm going to do it deeper, because I love it when I see like same one, when I feel like, guides, angels are showing me a message, or universe is speaking to me. I'll do a drive and it'll be like I'll see 777 like times. Like it's like for me, 777 feels like I accept my good, I receive my good, things are coming. And then I'll see 888 and that's like money and abundance. And 222 is like, oh, my beautiful twin flame relationship. 555, like soulmate. And then like for me is about balance. 111, be vigilant about what you're focusing on because you're manifesting really quickly. And 444, remember to look at foundations and be grounded. So we got 999 is an ending, and it can be an ending to a thought that no longer serves us, or a system, a way of thinking, a way of reacting, any victim mentality, and going, okay, I need to go down this rabbit hole. 999, yeah, okay, to end this way of thinking and processing and welcome in a new way of thinking and processing. And I'm sure there's other meanings for the numbers, but that's how they're resonating for me at the moment.
That's amazing. Oh, we're going to need a little printout of those, I think.
I know,
That'd be a good post or something for socials as well.
My
I love
gosh.
those beautiful meanings, and especially that 999, that reminder of like something here that you're ready to let go of. There's a thought that's not serving you. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well,
I've loved this chat so much. Thank you.
Oh, this is so good. I'm so glad did this. We can see what happens. We'll check in we finish this, but then I would love to have you back on again. I feel like we've got so much to talk about, and it's a beautiful collaboration. It's really
It truly is. Oh, thank you, Alina. I
pleasure.
appreciate you.
Now I'm going to ask you, how can people find you and work with you?
Sure. This is the best way to find me, but I also have an email address. Start with that. It's Soul.and.soma.with.Jem at email.com. If you want to just send me an email if you've got any questions. But if you're on, I'm Soul.and.soma.with.Jem.
Great. Soul and Soma with Jem. Great.
Yeah. I have got a website all linked up in there, but it's easier if you just find me through that way. I'd love to connect with anybody listening who resonated. If anyone has any questions about that kind of thing, I love this work. I just feel like it is so resonant for so many people, and their body is like the royal road to understanding the self and understanding life. It's beautiful.
Wow. I would love you to speak with you after this, but coming up is I would love you to be part of my program that I'm launching, which is the Clarity Code, and from the somatic perspective, and be a guest speaker, and in that would be really.
I love that. I just got chills. My nipples got hard. That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's an whole body. Yeah,
bring it. Okay, we're doing it. Okay, thank you for joining me. What a blessing. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too, my darling.
Thank you, Jem, for that heartfelt conversation. Here's the key takeaway. Self-trust comes from building your capacity to hold discomfort. There's no getting around it, and there's no intimacy without vulnerability. So if you would like to have a beautiful experience with Jem and myself, click the link in the show notes for the free Clarity Code replay, in which we do some guided practices to help you deepen your self-trust today.
Thank you so much for listening. It means a lot to me. These conversations are having such a positive ripple effect all around the world. So if you really enjoy them and want to spread those good vibes, please remember to subscribe, comment, like, and share with someone you care about today.